this video, we will discuss DOAC score. This score can be used to predict bleeding risk in atrial fibrillation patients receiving direct oral anticoagulants. Let's go through the trial which was used to design this score. Agarwal et al. In 2023 used data of individuals taking dabigatran of RELAY trial to develop a novel bleeding risk score to predict bleeding risk in atrial fibrillation patients on direct oral anticoagulants. This study compared DOAC score with Hasbred score, with major bleeding being a primary outcome. This study demonstrated the superiority of DOAC score over the Hasbred score and concluded that the DOAC score can help predict expected bleeding risk and risk stratified the patients who are candidates for the DOAC therapy. This risk score is further refined in Garfield AF registry and externally validated in Combined AF registry and RAMQ administrative databases. Now let's go through the limitations of this study. Only major bleeding outcomes, not all bleeding outcomes, were used to validate this score. In addition, the rates of major bleeding were highest in the development study, with rates being much lower in the validation cohorts. So there may be the possibility of flawed weighing of variables from the initial development stage. Now moving to the risk factors which are used in DOAC score. The first risk factor used is age. With increasing age of the patient, the points allotted are also increased. For the patients in the age group of 65 to 69 years of age, the points allotted are 2, while those in the age group of 70 to 74 years of age, 75 to 79 years of age, and those 80 or above 80 years of age, the points allotted are 3, 4, and 5 respectively. The second risk factor used is creatinine clearance or eGFR. The patients with the eGFR in the range of 30 to 60, the point allotted is 1, while those with eGFR less than 30, the points allotted are 2. For those with the risk factor of being underweight, stroke TIA or history of embolism, diabetes, and hypertension are allotted 1 point each. In case of aspirin monotherapy, the points allotted are 2, while in case of DAPT, the points allotted are 3. In case of NSAID use, the point allotted is 1. For the risk factors of bleeding history and liver disease, the points allotted are 3 and 2 respectively. So the total score ranges from 0 to 10. The individuals with the score of 10 or more than 10, they are assigned a risk score of 10. So there is a maximum of 10 points in the risk score. Now moving to the risk stratification. The patients are classified into 5 risk categories depending upon the DOAC score. With increase in a DOAC score, the risk of major bleeding increases and thus the risk category. For the patients in the DOAC score within the range of 0 to 3, the risk of bleeding is 0.6 to 1.5% and these patients belong to very low risk category. Similarly, the patients with the DOAC score between 6 to 7 belongs to moderate risk category. Similarly, the patients with the risk score of 10 belongs to very high risk category with the risk of major bleeding being 3.7 to 7.7%. Now let's compare DOAC score with other bleeding and stroke risk prediction scores. Abu Asi et al. Compared DOAC score with Hasbred, Orbit, and SWISS score for the prediction of major bleeding in DOACs and non-DOACs user. In DOACs patient, DOAC score showed moderate discrimination, but it was found to be superior to other risk scores. Similarly, in vitamin K antagonist patients, DOAC score showed highest discrimination. In the other study which compared DOAC score with other risk scores, the Orbit AF and Atria score showed best bleeding risk prediction within the first 1100 days. So now let's compare DOAC score with the Hasbred score. DOAC treated patients were used to develop the DOAC score, while warfarin treated patients were used to develop the Hasbred score. So the DOAC score is superior to Hasbred score in predicting bleeding risk in patients treated with DOACs. In addition, in DOAC score, each risk factor is weighed differently for the assessment of bleeding risk, while in case of Hasbred score, all risk factors are weighed similarly to assess the risk of major bleeding. So more accurate estimation of bleeding risk can be achieved with the DOAC score. The DOAC score further stratifies risk of bleeding with increasing age, while the Hasbred score assigns the risk point of 1 if the age is more than 65 years. So the better correlation of increasing risk of bleeding with increasing age can be achieved with DOAC score. The DOAC score takes into consideration the creatinine clearance or eGFR while calculating risk of bleeding and further stratifies the risk of bleeding with decreasing creatinine clearance or eGFR, while the Hazard score assigns the risk score of 1 to all patients irrespective of their disease status. So the DOAC score can accurately estimate the risk of bleeding in patients with the kidney disease. Further, DOAC score stratifies the risk of bleeding depending upon the type and number of medications used, while Hazard score assigns a risk score of 1 to each of NSAIDs and aspirin used. It does not take into consideration the use of DFT. So more accurate estimation and quantification of increased cumulative risk of bleeding can be achieved with the DOAC score. So the DOAC score classifies patients into 5 risk categories from very low to very high, while the Hazard score provides a score range from 0 to 9. So better quantification of bleeding risk can be achieved with DOAC score. Now let's see some pros and cons of the DOAC score. The DOAC score assigns distinct levels of bleeding risk depending upon the severity of risk factors and thus allows individualized assessment of risk score and bleeding risk estimation. In addition, it includes underweight status in the risk scores as there is a known increased risk of major bleeding in underweight patients on DOAC therapy. The only downside of this score is that it was developed using patients on DOAC therapy. The patients on vitamin K antagonists are not included during its development. So this score can be used to predict the risk of bleeding in patients with atrial fibrillation who are candidates for the treatment with direct oral anticoagulants. So these are the references you can go through for the further details.